Just the other day, as I was scrolling through some responses to one of my old social media posts, I hit one of those comments that stung just a little bit. It was nothing dramatic, it was just a sentence, but it made my heart rate jump for a couple of minutes. I think we've all had that moment, and over time you start to notice something. Not all negative comments are the same. They might feel similar, but they come from very different places. What I've come to see is this. Most of it falls into two patterns: trolls and judges. And once you can tell the difference, something shifts. You move from feeling hit to actually understanding what it is you're looking at. Let's start with the trolls. A troll isn't really trying to argue with you. They're not trying to convince you of anything. They're just trying to get a reaction. That's the whole game. Anger, frustration, long replies, that's the currency. If you respond, they've already succeeded. And a lot of that behavior is made easier by distance. Behind a screen, no real-world consequences. People will say things they would never say face-to-face. So you'll see it happen. A serious conversation, maybe even something meaningful, and someone drops in with something ridiculous or insulting, just to watch it all unravel. They're not part of the conversation. They're disrupting it. And what makes trolls really unsettling is this: there's no real logic to engage with. You can't reason with something that isn't trying to be reasonable. But then there's another kind of response. It's more subtle, and it's often more difficult to deal with, and that's the judge. A judge isn't trying to create chaos. They're trying to correct it. At least that's how they see it. They come in with a sense of authority, as if they're setting the record straight, or offering some kind of necessary critique. And sometimes they even sound reasonable. That's what makes them so much harder to dismiss, because now it doesn't feel like noise. It feels like scrutiny. A judge might question your ideas, your choices, your work, even your character. Not with insults, but with a tone of certainty. And that hits a lot differently. Because now it's not just your peace being disrupted. Your judgment is being challenged. When you put these two together, something even deeper starts to happen. Trolls pull you toward reaction. Judges pull you toward defensiveness. Either way, your center shifts outward, and over time, that has a real cost. We live in a world where everything we say can be seen, evaluated, picked apart, and slowly, often without even realizing it, we start adjusting ourselves. We filter what we say. We soften ideas before we share them. We hold things back. Not because they're wrong, but because we're anticipating the response. And that's where the shift really happens. We stop speaking from intention and start speaking from anticipation. So what do we do with that? I don't think the answer is to disappear. It's to become more deliberate. One simple shift is just recognizing what you're dealing with. Ask yourself, is this a troll or is this a judge? If it's a troll, there's nothing to solve. You're being invited into a reaction. you don't have to accept that invitation. If it's a judge, you have a different choice. Evaluation is a two-way street, so you can ask yourself, is there something useful here? Or is this just someone imposing their framework onto me? Not every critique deserves a response, and not every response deserves your attention. The other part of this is control. We actually have a lot more control over our digital environments than we tend to use. Blocking, muting, filtering. These aren't acts of avoidance. They're acts of maintenance. You're shaping the environment you spend time in. And finally, there's something a little bit quieter, but equally important. It's your internal compass. The more grounded you are in what you're trying to say and why you're saying it, the less power those external voices have. They never disappear, but they do stop defining your experience. That's really what I'm exploring here at Quiet Frontier. How to stay grounded in the middle of all of this noise. If that resonates with you, there's a lot more here to explore. There's links in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take good care.